Welcome to Rotten Taste, where we take a look at movies under 50% on Rotten Tomatoes and tell you what we think of them. And today, for the first time on our channel, we are doing a movie based on a video game. I can't believe it's taken us this long to do this, Soto.
Wait,
Um,
really?
yeah, we've done a lot of shitty movies, or, good bad movies, I should say. But this is the first video game movie, and we are looking at the 1995 film
Wow.
Mortal fucking Kombat.
Yes.
Which has a 45% score on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm like, we
That's
have
so
to
high.
do this. Is it so high?
It's
Or is
higher
it
than
so
I
low?
thought it was going to be. It's higher than I thought it was going to be for sure.
This is a difficult one, and here's why. And if we go back to 1995, the time when this came out, movies
What a
based on
great
video
year.
games were horrible. I mean, yeah, I can remember like Super Mario Brothers. I remember Double Dragon.
Street
I know
Fighter.
was Street Fighter before this? Okay, so I wasn't sure. I didn't look that up, but still, a
I'm not
lot.
sure, but I remember Street Fighter being terrible when I saw that in the
Correct.
theaters.
So whether this comes for either way, to me, Mortal Kombat was the first good, or like, better than shitty video game
Passable.
movie that
Acceptable.
came out. It kind of gave the genre a little hope. And I remember seeing this in theaters at Mall of America. I was a Mortal Kombat fan. I was not into Street Fighter as much as I know you were. I love this fucking movie. And rewatching this again, this was just such a fun movie. It just gets your adrenaline going, everything about it. So, rewatching this now, Soto.
Everything?
Yes, for the most part.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
because I think it parts the music. Music always gets me going regardless. And so anyhow, what were your thoughts about watching this now compared to maybe the 90s when this came out?
I remember very vividly seeing this trailer come out because I was obviously huge into Mortal Kombat. It's just back then, it was just there was nothing like Mortal Kombat, and yeah, Street Fighter was like the cool fighting game, but Mortal Kombat had the ultra violence, and it had just like a totally different look. It obviously had the quote unquote photorealistic graphics, where it was like actually like people fighting and stuff, but. I remember when I first saw this trailer and I was like, this is exactly everything I ever wanted to see in a Mortal Kombat movie. And when I watched it when I was younger, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. Now, it is fun, but there are definitely problems that I ran into watching it again. Most notably, Chris Lambert as Rayden.
Yeah.
Was just like I never realized how terrible that casting choice was until I rewatched this and was like, why did they choose him? Like, why? Because I get it. Christopher Lambert, obviously Highlander, was huge. So maybe they're trying to capitalize on the whole nerd thing that, fans of Highlander will like seeing him in there. But all that budget that went to Christopher Lambert could have easily gone to other things. And then the woman who played Sonya Blade, Veronica Vaughn or whatever her name is from Happy Gilmore or freaking
Bridgette
Billy Madison.
Wilson.
Is
Yeah.
that who that is?
Yeah.
She was terrible in this movie and totally miscast. Everything else, I was like, this is a blast, having fun. This is great. I could even get over the crappy graphics, but man, her scenes were so annoying. So annoying. And then Christopher Lambert's weird comedic timing thing. Like, there's that one scene where he's like, sorry. I'm like, what? What?
The fate of the world.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was like if he's between his bad sense of humor and then Johnny Cage's pants. That was very distracting for the whole movie for me. But yes, you're right. There are really cool parts. And yeah, hearing the Mortal Kombat theme, it gets me super jazzed up. But now the Mortal Kombat theme is so like overused that every time I would hear the Mortal Kombat theme while rewatching this, I would start unintentionally laughing because it would remind me of people warming up to play basketball in a high school game.
So
It's so bad.
yeah, obviously the story of the game and kind of this too is
The story.
the tournament. Basically you got to win 10 tournaments to to enter the realm. And I'm
So
like,
arbitrary.
like I don't get it. Like what?
No.
Because my whole problem, and one of the main things about this is what are the rules? What are the brackets? Because because there's a time when Liu Kang has already fought 3 times, Sonya and Johnny
Yeah.
have fought once. When they introduce Goro, they show like everyone flying. I counted. When he faces Art, 21. So Goro has 21 fights when Liu has 3. I'm like, wait, but I'm just like
What?
once a generation, so that's what, once
Yeah.
every 50 years. So
Sure.
Shang Tsung and his team have won for 450 years. What and
Hmm.
then it's like what they got to wait. I don't know. I laugh because I'm like, what are the rules to this? Everything just seems out there.
Dude,
Like they just
dude,
made it up on the fly.
Johnny Cage, for some fucking reason, is randomly walking in the most symmetrical forest ever created and then fights Scorpion out of nowhere? And then Scorpion's like hook is now like a living thing because I think it dies. So
Yeah,
I don't know. It came out of his hand, which is like one thing, but like everything was just, and then this happens, which honestly was fine because when this movie is all about fights, I'm
just
like,
get to
this
him.
is fine. Just get to
But
the fights. Get to one fight after the other. It's fine. That's what the game essentially is. But when there's exposition and explaining, that's when I'm like, oh my god,
so here
what?
with this Johnny Cage Scorpion fight, and Scorpion
Oh
was always
god.
my favorite character. My one gripe when
Sure.
I first saw this movie was that Scorpion, Sub-Zero were not enemies in the movie. Basically Shang Tsung, like, I know it was a quick
But
line,
they did mention
they're
it.
under my power. They're under my power. I'm like, no, that's fucking sucks. But anyhow, the Johnny Cage Scorpion fight. Yes, the weird, the spear coming out of his hands. But then Scorpion does that shadow thing that pulls Johnny Cage into like hell or
Yeah.
wherever that area is. I have a
Yeah.
question for you. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
there is that fun little friendship, Easter egg with that. But Johnny Cage wins. How the
Yes, he
fuck does
does.
he get back? He doesn't know where he was taken to. Uh, like
Oh
all
my
of a
god, I
sudden,
never
he
even
just
thought about that.
he fights Scorpion, wins. Great, whatever. It was a nice little
Burns
fight
him
scene.
with
Though,
fire, by the way,
yep.
when
Or
he's made of fire,
does
and
the
he's also a skeleton.
gymnastic thing? Yeah, I know, and like cuts him with the shield. Oh, and blows up. That's the other thing. He just blows up. But anyhow, yeah, no,
Oh
I
my
laugh because
god.
I'm like, how does Johnny Cage get back to the others? Because it's like he was
No.
brought who knows where. He kills the one
Mm-hmm.
guy that took him there, and
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously, you're not supposed to think about this too much. But I did
No,
laugh at
and I
that one, and
didn't. I didn't when I was younger. I never thought about it once. I was like, this is fine. Things are just happening, and I'm okay with them.
but I had a question about the beginning. All right,
Mm.
because obviously the whole thing was it's like Shang Tsung and his fighters, and Raiden, represents Earth. All right, so whatever those, that's the other thing. Rayden doesn't fight in this, but why? And it was never explained. Why is Shang Tsung recruiting Earth's fighters? Because they are Raiden's fighters, and by definition, if Earth wins,
Yeah.
so why would Shang Tsung want more Earth fighters? Wouldn't he want more of his fighters? Like, there is nothing to that plan that makes
No.
sense to me. And I'm like, I would
Nope.
have got it if Raiden would have done it, or some like form of trickery. But no, it's like Shang Tsung is secretly bringing them all in. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Like
You're
Johnny
basically
Cage.
you're bringing some of the best fighters supposedly into this tournament. Why would you bring these? Just be like, oh, you didn't get them, Raiden? Well, fuck you. We're gonna win. I don't know. I just
By
like
default. Oh my god, yeah. Wow, just poking some holes in the strong lore of Mortal Kombat the movie.
is there a lore? Is there?
Oh god, there were so many questions while watching it that just I was like, wait, but why? But huh? But what? Katana? What's going on? What do you mean? Like it was just there's so much, and I know the Mortal Kombat lore behind this, and I don't want to get too much into that because that's a whole other
Game
thing.
versus movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. And even, and I'll just say this: even the game's lore doesn't make sense if you watch these videos. So this movie did the best it could with what it had.
No, but in the game, I'm going to just take the first game. I'm not going to get into the later games, but in the game, each character has a reason to fight in this tournament. Well, as absurd as it might be, they're fighting for themselves in this, Earth versus outer realm, whatever is a side note.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think Katana was just thrown in there because, like, oh, we need to give Liu Kang and love interest, just they're gonna pretend to fight and that's it. But
Yeah,
speaking of fights, all right, so yeah, Katana,
that's
gives
weird.
Liu Kang like the clues to the next fight. All
Well,
right,
everybody's just right there.
so and just like then it's over. But So he fights Sub-Zero with the clues from Katana, and he's like,
Yeah.
what's the one thing? Use the thing that brings life. And now, Soto, I'm a father. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
water is not the thing that brings life. I'm just like,
Oh,
how is
well,
this
you
the
thought a totally
fucking
different thing.
answer?
You thought a totally different thing in that situation.
But I'm just
Wow.
like water. But anyhow, it's just the fights are just not quickly thrown together, but no explanation. Like let's just have these two fight,
No.
and then these two fight, and then all of a sudden Johnny Cage is like, I want to fight Goro because he loves Sonya. He's like, I can't let anything happen to you.
Oh God, I know.
Just-
All of a sudden, that was just like the strangest relationship. But they have this. You're right. Everything was thrown together, and then who knew that the secret to beating Sub-Zero was throwing water at him
mhm.
from a bucket,
Yeah,
and
it
that he
worked.
died from ice.
Yes,
So
a
Scorpion
guy.
died from fire, and then Sub-Zero died from ice, and Goro, well, he just gets kicked off a cliff by Johnny Cage, who doesn't. He's not even dressed for fighting, by the way. He's still dressed for, I don't know, like a
Making a
crazy
movie.
'90s business meeting. Like his pants were just ridiculous, and he's able to kick an interdimensional being into oblivion.
Yeah, well, with the nut shot and then the surprise. I mean, basically, remember he had a plan, and it was to do the nut shot, run away, and then sneak attack. Which against Goro, that might be the best fucking plan. If what else are you gonna fucking do if you cannot fight a four-arm big dude? But yeah, then
Yeah.
Goro's just hanging there, and this is the part where you fall down, and that was it. So I mean, how
Oh
much can you do
God.
with that in the movie though? But yeah, when Cage, I laughed because when Cage, tells Shang Tsung, I want to fight Goro, and Shang Tsung's like, I will grant this request, but in return, I get to choose the final opponent, for final battle. And I'm like, again, who
Huh?
made these rules? Remember? Because he says, I
Yeah.
get the winner or a
Yeah.
person of my choosing. And I'm just like, oh, so this whole tournament was for nothing. Shang Tsung can come in like, I fight you. Now, they did say, you have to accept. And I love the fact that Liu Kang's like, you have to accept final battle. And Raiden's like, that's all I have to teach you. Liu Kang got a trivia question right, and Raiden's like, all right, that's it. I'm done teaching you. Like, wait, you taught him something?
That sums it up. Yeah, that sums it up.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. Oh, yeah, the character's horrible. Sonya,
Oh,
it didn't
Sonya was
fit.
awful.
She just
No.
did not fit the mentality, to fight Kano.
Nope.
And credit to her though. I mean, the character, they had her kill Kano. Like, sometimes in these movies, the good guys never kill the bad guys, or like human bad guys. So she's like breaking the neck. That's it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
just done in such a like deliberate way and such a really quick way. But yeah, Johnny Cage was fine to me. I love Liu Kang. He was good. I think that if they're not going to have a story, and of course this is mid '90s, but that's no excuse because there were plenty of low budget martial arts films that were fantastic. But
hmm
had they just focused on the fights, this would have aged better than it did because some of the fights are just absolutely stiff and terrible choreography and everything. So I think it was done a little bit better in the newer movie that came out. Although the newer movie is not exactly like anything like fantastic either, but I agree with you. Ultimately, I still think this movie is very fun. It has a very brisk pacing. Aside the fact that Christopher Lambert and the other girl are terribly miscast, yeah, I still think that this is a fun movie, and if it comes on, I will definitely watch it. There are movies I have rated lower or we've rated lower that I think are better than Mortal Kombat. Looking at you, Karate Kid Part 3, but um, I still think that this is a perfectly fine movie if you're 12.
So there's one more part that I want to bring up, and this is something that happens in a lot of fighting movies, in my opinion. So
Mm.
when Johnny Cage and Liu Kang go to the outer realm, the outworld,
Hmm. Yeah.
Liu Kang senses Reptile. You know how he just all of a
Oh
sudden he's
God.
back in. So and they have their fight. Whatever. Yeah, we're not going to get into this cheesy Reptile character, until he comes a ninja. But I have a question. So they
How
start
did he become
fighting.
a ninja?
Reptile throws him through a wall or whatnot. Um,
Sure.
what the fuck is Johnny Cage doing while these two are fighting? This is to the death. And Cage could not, come in like 2 versus 1 against Reptile. Help. I get it. Liu Kang is the better fighter. No doubt.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not even obviously the actor as well, but I'm just as a character, Liu Kang is, the major good guy. But I'm just
Hmm.
like, all of a sudden they were both there, and then yeah, so Cage is just standing outside the building. What is he just checking his watch? Like, come on, Lou, we got to go save Sonya. I'm like, what the fuck
Lou.
is he doing? So, but this happens in a lot where it's like the 1 versus 1, unless you're the enemy, and you gang up. But it's not like a bunch of the good guys never gang up on one guy. I'm like, why not? If this is not,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I laughed at that because I'm just trying to picture what he was doing this whole time, and he was just probably standing outside doing absolutely nothing, just waiting. So,
He's just
uh,
waiting, just hands in his pockets of his ridiculous pants.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, this is a fun movie. Yeah, some of the special
Hmm.
effects did not age well. Some of the scenery I did like, though. Some of
Oh
the
yeah,
locations I loved. I thought it was great. But yeah,
absolutely.
I've not seen the new Mortal Kombat. It's actually on my to watch list. I'm like, I got to get around to that. But I also don't want to talk about the sequel, Annihilation, because that
Oh God,
really
that's
is
actually
a
worse,
lot.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is a lot. I remember seeing that in theaters, and that was a lot worse than this one.
Did that
Uh,
have like any sort of continuity with like this movie at all? Because I think I saw it, but boy, do I not remember it.
So all I remember, because in the end of the first one, they set up where Shao Kahn, is like,
Of
he
course.
just breaks the rules of the tournament. It's like, all right, I'm entering Earth's realm anyway, so it's like, fuck the tournament, fuck the rules. If he could have done this whole time, why wait almost 500 years?
Why?
But yeah,
Yeah.
and
Why
then
did we do
they get
this?
into the fighting stance. Annihilation starts right at that scene.
Oh.
So it literally starts right there. So, but the hard part is, you have a new Sonya Blade, which, if I remember,
Is
it's not Bridgette Wilson. It might be an upgrade. You do not have Christopher Lambert as Rayden. It's a new Rayden. I cannot think of his name. Robin Shou is the only, and Katana. Those are the only two recurring characters that come back for the sequel. Because even Johnny Cage is played by a different actor. Because spoiler alert, like in the game, he dies right away.
yes.
So he gets his nap snapped, and that's it. Um, Neck snapped. Man, did I say that backwards?
But he
I was
does
like,
he does come back. He does come back in the games. In the
in the
games.
games, he does, and he's in the yeah. His lore with Sonya is great in the games. Up until the new games, the story works. I mean, as far as their love, it took many games for them to fall in love. Where in this one, he's just like, I can't let this happen. Like, you just met this woman put a gun to your face the first time
Yeah.
she met you. You just see a pretty blonde, and he's like, I'm sold. It's one. Yeah. So anyhow, yeah, the sequel is horrible. Maybe we'll visit it one day. I mean, I'm not in a rush, but to me, yeah, it might not have aged as well, but I think for us, because of the nostalgia, the music, and everything like that, it takes us back to the '90s when
Hmm.
this was just everywhere, and I don't know, and that's why I love it. I can, like you, I can still watch when it's on. Yes, I still want to know how this tournament bracket shit works, but again, who cares? Just give me the fights, and I love it. It's one of the better movies I think we've reviewed. So in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It is. It is. It's not without its problems, but as an adaptation of a video game, at the time that it came out, it was done very well. Certainly done very well. And if you want a sneak peek on Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I will tell you that it is rated 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It will officially be the worst movie that we would ever reviewed if we do this. Not counting
Not counting of
Sharks of the
course,
Corn, because you know
Sharks
what?
of the
That
Corn,
doesn't
which
doesn't
default
have.
is the worst movie, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god. So anyhow, that is what we think of Mortal Kombat. Let us know what you thought of the movie. Let us know what you thought of the sequels. Should we watch the sequels? Because technically
Oh,
we're
please
allowed to
no.
on this one. We don't have to, but you know what? If we get enough love for Annihilation, maybe we'll get around to it. So
That sounds like pain, but I'll do it. I'll do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But until next time, I got nothing. Finish him.
Flawless victory.